Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Rainmaker Stories. Today I have with me Mrinal Bhattacharya. She is a UGC specialist who has worked on different aspects of the industry, be it content growth, online communities, product development, and she has over 15 years of experience. Currently, Mrinal is on a maternity break. We'll ask her some interesting questions around that too. But welcome to this episode of Rainmaker Stories, Mrinal, and thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you so much, Nishtha. Pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, so I came to know of Mrinal. We were both together as a part of the first cohort of LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program, the celebrated, the first batch in India which they launched. So we were those managed creators. Then we are a part of this another beautiful women-only community, the Leap Club, where I see Mrinal is an active member. Like Mrinal, I've seen you being so vocal both on LinkedIn and on Leap Club in terms of your content, and this just dives me to my first question as well. When I introduced you, there was all things community in your introduction, and of course you're a passionate content creator as well. You being a part of this li cap is a testimony to that too. So how do you integrate these different yet connected skills, being a community manager on one end, a content creator on the other, and what impact are you striving to create?
That's a fabulous question. I personally feel that when I started creating online, one of the things that I personally feel that was missing, and this is back in 2016 when I started writing on Quora for the first time, and Quora was the thing where, people used to have credit system for posting content online. Same goes with, I think, Reddit. So I feel like there was a miss, people were not aware of how to really create content. There was an accessibility issue, and the access then all of a sudden opened up, but still you're not sure how to go and approach it. And a lot of us even now have go through that struggle of how to really post content. Everybody has a story to tell, and everybody have a lot of experience and wisdom to share, but they always feel, oh, this is the public knowledge. No, that's not a public knowledge. And that took me many years of creating content, that something that I am aware of or I have experienced may not be public knowledge. And even if it is a public knowledge, it need more awareness. It need to be reprimanded. It need to be talked about more often. So one of the things that I'm trying to achieve by creating content even during my mat leave is to ensure that people are aware of the topics that they either have forgotten about, or they are not even aware of, that these topics need to be talked about. So one of my major goal is community education. And when I say community education, it could be like, I do not want to call myself jack of all trades, but the problem is that I couldn't niche down, because there are certain things that I'm very passionate about. you know Going first with UGC, this is one of my biggest passion areas. So I would shut down all the UGC platforms and try to understand what changes they are going through, what evolvement they are going through, and make it so simple so that anybody who is not a UGC specialist, who may not be aware of the acronyms, still can get and understand and go about content creation in
Right.
general. Because content creation is not just for creators, it's also for people who are trying to either build a personal brand. And I know that's a very thin line between, oh, creators and personal brand, but I think personal brand is for everyone. And any personal brand manager out there will tell you that. And I'm no expert, but I can tell you that, right now, what is happening is that, just like years back we used to have a resume, now our online content is becoming the sneak peek of who we are. So it's
Right.
important for us to diligently dive into it. So that's one thing that I'm trying to do. And second, as I said, that I'm very passionate about certain things that I'm experiencing. And I just experienced a pregnancy, and then my maternity leave and motherhood. And I realized that the very first month that I became a mother, the first thing was like, oh my God, how on earth there are so many of us when parenting is so hard and being a mother is so hard. And call it my postpartum, depression or whatever. I thought that I need to voice out the struggles that a new mom
Right.
go through or a new parent go through in general. So yeah, that's where, the whole content is blending with community. I want to be 100% authentic and true self, because trust me, irrespective of what virality works for who, end of the day, if you are very true to yourself, if you're being very authentic, and if you're aware of how to put your voice out there, you will be recognized. So yeah.
And this is so relatable, Mrinal, when you said that, at times you feel like, oh, but this is public knowledge. Why do I need to chime in? There's too much on it out there already. And you're right, even as a part of me is also that creator, author. And my motivation also came during that part when I was pregnant, that, oh, okay, a lot of those things on gender just came rushing back to me. And I thought, oh, an Indian has not written on it to offer a practical perspective. Let me write on it. Or I just
Yeah,
announced my second book on the Women's Day this year. And
that's
that,
awesome.
thank you.
Congratulations.
And that is also motivated when my daughter started her preschool and I observed certain things around me and I said, okay, now I need to write on this. So you're
Yeah,
so right, just being authentic to yourself, what resonates with you, and not being affected by, oh, but does my opinion matter? Like
yeah,
if everyone thinks like that, we wouldn't have these, smart dialects and more people chiming in at all if all of us thought like that.
absolutely.
This leads me to my next question, Rinal, like around how you said that, community sort of education is what you touched on when you talked about blending these two skills. So we'll talk about this building and maintaining engagement with your community, which is a crucial aspect, of course, as a
Yeah.
content creator as well, or if you're managing a community. So, in your experience, what are some of the best ways to actively stay involved and connected with your followers?
Okay, let me start with a statement, because I personally stand by that.
Mhm.
You put your content out there and your content will find its audience. You don't have to think about your audience. A lot of time what happens is that we go through so many courses, and I remember I saw a post from Peter Yang, who is somebody whom I look up to from product management perspective. Like he's one of my ideas, and he
Mhm.
wrote about that people get into their head of making something so perfect that
Mhm.
they forget to ship it or forget to publish stuff.
Right.
And it, half done things, nobody likes to put it out there, but it's important that we put the half baked things out there, because then only we'll get feedback.
Mhm.
Sometimes we spend so much time, and it happens with filmmakers as well. You spend so much of time with your dream project that any criticism will then just angers you. But when you're shipping so much, you
Mhm.
end up improving yourself so much more. So
Right.
coming back to your question, I think there are a few ways that you
Mhm.
can actually help yourself in terms of how to build and maintain engagement.
Mhm.
um, so I'll give you examples from our community itself, right? So consistent communication. So everybody knows that you have to regularly engage with followers, but what does it really mean?
Mhm.
Be it our newsletters or attending events and letting people know about these things. Consistent communication is important, but what is more important is personalized interaction. So
Mhm.
I know I have attended a lot of audio events, and I want to give shout out to one of our um, fellow LECAP member, Jatin Saini. He does this beautifully. So what happens is that whenever he does his audio live events, he gives a shout out to people who are there on his audio session. And that, I think, is a very good way of acknowledging your audience's presence. I haven't seen a lot of people doing that. LinkedIn Lives, LinkedIn audio events, YouTube streams, all of these are very good platforms, especially the live interaction platforms are a very good way of doing personalized interaction where you are giving a shout out to someone. But at the same time, let's say you are not somebody who is very okay with doing a live show. Not everybody is okay with it, right? Like it requires a different kind of persona and confidence to do that. So in those kind of scenarios, what you need to do is every time that you're responding to a comment,
Mhm.
rather than saying that, oh, thank you so much for leaving a comment, you give two more sense to that person. So that person has taken out time to write to you, to write to your post that, hey, I experienced the same thing. Thank you so much for sharing this. I could see myself in you. Um, return the compliment or write something else that could be helpful for them, depending on the context. I personally find it very boring when I do that too. Like I sometimes I have nothing more to add, so I do leave that. Hey, thank you so much for writing this. But most of the time, it's important for you to do that interaction. The another way to do interaction is to not just because your post might not be attracting that much of attention, but somebody in your segment might be. And that doesn't mean that you have to only go and follow major creators. You can also start with medium scale creators who probably are at like a 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 mark. You don't have to go through like a 100K or a 300K creator follower kind of a scenario. And there you leave your comment because chances are that they will interact with your content more and more. And the audience that they are garnering will also interact with you. But ensure that, whatever you're contributing, it's a valuable content. Like it's a high quality comment that resonates with the other person's audience interest and needs, also with your audience and needs. Because what happens is when you're leaving a comment, there your network is also getting it. So it could be an advice, it could be an expert opinion, it could be an entertaining story, it could be anything, it could be just a link of something that you probably have read. But it's very important to foster that two-way conversation happening, because a lot of time people just undervalue that. And I think fostering two-way communication also means that when it will be a right time, you will be able to seek feedback. And trust me, seeking feedback on online platform where you're not engaged is so difficult. Even if you're engaged, it's so difficult. People do not like to give feedback, especially critical, constructive feedback, because nobody wants to hurt other person. And you're not hurting other person, but what you're trying to tell again and again to your audience that, hey, I want to do better. I want to do, I want to improve on that stuff. And this could be direct seeking feedback, but also actively listening to your followers' opinions also that matters. Sometimes if people say that, hey, I feel like your content is being copied by, your content seems a little bit copied. Don't take an offense. If it's an inspiration, straight up say and own it. That's an inspiration. If it's not an inspiration, put up a due credit to that person with whose post you got inspired, and say, hey, my bad, I'm going to do better in the future, and I'm going to be more creative and more authentic and more real and putting myself out. So all those things matter. And then obviously staying authentic and transparency is the key for creating social content. And at the same time, like as we talked about, how do we really hit that maintaining engagement? This is how you maintain engagement. I actually joined a wonderful session by John Yusashi last week. And he said a wonderful thing about quality and quantity, and where you can seek inspiration from. And trust me, I worked 4.5 years at Quora, and I never did that. He have quoted Quora as a platform and Reddit as a platform where you go and scout for the topic that you want to generate content on, and just republish that, pay due credits, and it's already viral on some other platform. There are chances that it's going to get viral here as well. And you put up your own take. I feel that was such an honest advice, and he gave a very beautiful explanation with how Beyonce do it. I'll try to put up a link, and I'll try to share what John Yusashi have shared in detail, probably on the comment whenever this video goes up. But I think that was such a smart way of doing it. I don't think it's plagiarism. It may come across as plagiarism to someone, but it's actually getting inspired, giving due credits, and then putting up your own take, just like anything else in the world.
And Mrinal sees content economy is picking up so much. Like just 2 days back, we had the Government of India Prime Minister organizing this creator event where over close to 200 creators were awarded, and that has just exploded the social media across, like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and you name a genre and the creator has been like recognized. It's like really recognizing the impact which the
Absolutely.
creators are making, not just the
Absolutely.
actors, Bollywood, wo traditional sense say nikal kar, like creators have really been recognized on a national platform now. And your advice
Absolutely.
was so
Absolutely.
bang on, Mrinal, when you started by saying, don't be just yeah, like way you don't let perfection weigh you down.
Yeah.
Start shipping it out. Like that's the
Yeah.
best way to engage with your followers. Give them content to engage on. That's
Right.
important.
Right.
And then,
Right.
of course, the two-way communication that you recommend.
Absolutely.
Actually, such a
Absolutely.
important advice for people who are just trying to dabble in this space. And this leads me to a connected question, Rinal, that every community or as a creator, your followers, they may need a variety of content. Like either
Right.
you might pick
Right.
up a niche or
Right.
and even even if you pick up a niche, within that niche you need to create newer sort of content. Like if gender
Oh,
is
yeah.
your niche, you need
Yeah.
to dabble into different things, like talk about
Yeah.
bias one day, talk about policies, and talk just educating people on their rights and stuff. There's so many things that you can talk of in that realm. And
Yeah.
there is another aspect where, like you said, that you're unable to pick up a niche. There's so many
Yeah.
things you're passionate about that
Right.
you dabble into a lot of things. I've personally
Right.
loved your LICAP project, which was Kagas Ki Kashti. And then I
Right.
saw when generative AI was really picking up, I saw you debunking a lot of those, sort of myths around it and just clarifying Gen AI for
Yeah.
people or tech trends. And then, of
Right.
course, you talk about your content, like as if
Right.
somebody wants to create content, you talk of that. I see you very vocal about gender as well, like gender
Right.
equality, maternity, motherhood, debunking some of the stereotypes. Like there's a lot of things that you talk of. So, like, how do you balance creating diverse content to cater to different interests and preferences while
Right.
ensuring a cohesive and engaging overall experience for your followers?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that people do make a mistake of when they see creators doing diverse things is that they lose a sense of self and try to chase virality. That, oh, this is trending, and that happens a lot on Instagram. That is trending. Let's just do that. The thing is that you can always follow the trends, but you can follow the trends in your own way. So, for
Hmm.
instance, um, as I said, that I didn't have a niche, so probably it could be a challenge, but I did have a niche. I have an expertise on a certain subject. So I become a subject matter expert for that. But at the same time, I'm also a woman and also a mother, so I'm able to write about it. So the fact that you are the person who you present
Hmm.
makes it cohesive in a way,
Right.
right? Like, what are you trying to portray to your audience? Are
Hmm.
you, if I am not a political person, let's say if I do not write about politics, or if I don't know about medical medical and healthcare, and I'm trying to advocate about being fit, and trying to advocate about dieting, and I haven't done it myself, I haven't done the work myself,
Hmm.
then it will be an unjust thing to your audience.
Hmm.
The one thing that I have always said, that a lot of people have asked me this question over last 2 years, is that is generative AI is going to vanish creators? They are going to vanish mediocrity. They are not going to vanish creators. And when I say
Hmm.
mediocrity, it's lazy writing. It's a writing where you put up a prompt and say, hey, can you create me a content, a 300 words, very impactful content? Because what happens is that generative AI is not yet so personalized, and you can skim through and you can smell that, oh, this is generated content. However, you can treat AI as your personal assistant and ask them to edit the content for you. That is
Right.
completely fine. If you write a 300 words content, you're not sure whether this looks good, ask the AI to rate your content, ask the AI to improve the content, ask the AI to make, and it may sound still absurd, and you
Hmm.
have to make a judgment call on whether to post it online or
Right.
not, and
Hmm.
make a flavor out of it. And if you have a distinct voice that is very familiar, you have to start training whatever your AI assistant is doing.
Right.
So I am definitely bullish on that. Coming back to your question of how to tie it all together,
Hmm.
very important thing is to first start putting content, just like, I'll go back to my advice again. start putting up content because you don't know what you're passionate about. I remember a lot of creators, one of the creators that I'm very impressed with is Niharika.
Mm,
She said she started creating content on fitness on
mm,
Instagram. And
mm,
for a good part of her life, she was an fitness influencer, sort of a
mm,
person on Instagram. And then she realized that she's not that person. She wanted to detach her, and now she's talking about her writing courses, and she talk about her vulnerability and the and solopreneurship and things like that. So she moved out, but
right,
she experimented with the other thing first.
right.
And same goes with so many other creators who have done that.
Mm,
I personally feel that a lot of creators in our Lead Cap fam itself are niche experts, whether it's Riddhi Sharma, who is writing about her entrepreneurship, or Binati Sheth, who's writing about books and editorial and things like that. They have their niche down, but I'm sure that people can only niche down if they are truly compassionate about a certain topic.
right,
And you will also see creators who will have a niche, but once in a while they will write about something else altogether.
right.
And pick up any creator, they might be creating a finance content throughout, but they will come back on particular days of whether they're it's their parents anniversary or something else,
Mm,
and they will write about something which is very personal, which
right,
has nothing to do with finance. And
right.
it's completely fine to do it. That's how you diversify. But when you're not sure what to do, so I'm still figuring out, and I think figuring out is better than not doing anything at all.
Mm, mm,
um, and you don't have to be a creator. I haven't done a brand sponsorship ever since I've become a creator. And it's
mm.
completely fine. Like, I'm not making money out of it. I don't know whether I will make money out of it or not, whether I'm comfortable doing it or not. So you do you, and you create content for yourself, and let the other people just
Right.
resonate with it. That would be my advice.
I was so bang on now when you said that it's like, yes, I'm a creator, I'm a mom, I'm a woman, so I can write on all these things. It's to do with just writing on authentic parts of yourself till you really zero down on one. And there may be a scenario where you don't zero down on any, even that's fine. As long
Yeah,
as, let's say, you're passionate about it, just go ahead with it. Don't overthink it too much.
absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely.
beautiful snippet. So, Mrinal, thank you so much. I have like picked your brain a lot on content, community, creator, and everything. I moved to the last question of our, interview, and this is touching on a personal nerve now. I've, we'll just switch gears and talk about maybe those, like tackling stereotypes as a woman, as a new mom. And you're quite passionate about that too. I specifically remember, like before we started recording this, I was telling you that, some of your posts have just stayed with me. Like you talked about how you embraced having white hair during your pregnancy and even after. And then you calculated, oh, like had I not been affected by this bias around me, I would have saved this much money in all these years. And then you've also, very openly talked about that like Kagas Ki Kashti touched upon a lot of those as a childhood, like those sweet things coming into the forefront in this fast-paced life of today. Or you've talked about, those biases around complexion and stuff as you were growing up,
Right,
that people
right,
would sort of fill you up with doubts. So you've been very
right.
vocal on these things, and you're, of course, again, like, proudly wearing the badge. Yes, I'm on mat leave. It's my choice, and I'm just figuring things out. We see so many women are always second guessing themselves and their choices. So, how would you leave, like what would be your advice be to new moms or people, or just women who are grappling with all these things? What's your practical advice to them?
So honestly, I think I was very privileged to, come across women who were really braving it up, and my sister was definitely one of them. I saw her without any help. She was able to manage her two kids all on her own in different country along with her partner. And one thing that stood out was that she always said that it's equal partnership, equal parenting. And that's where my inspiration came for that piece. And particularly when we talked about Kagas Kashi, it came from a very beautiful childhood that I had. with my parents and my siblings, where I definitely miss that in today's today's time, and I wish I could always carry that part of my soul with me everywhere. But having said all of that, going back to women who are second guessing themselves about whether I'll be having the same kind of a career, trust me, I have to, and I'm really good at faking it up that, I'm not impacted or affected. Sometimes you see a leakage where I do say and I do mention that, hey, this imposter syndrome is killing me, because I'm genuinely concerned whether I'll go back to the tech world and see that, everything has changed, everything that I've learned has evolved and advanced, and I will not be able to do stuff. And one of the things that one of my mentor, his name is Jonathan Brill, and he have shared with me is that you have to tackle the fear. And tackling the fear is essentially that if you're scared that you will not be updated by the time you will come back, take half an hour of your time every day and try to educate yourself, so that you don't feel that you are out of the industry for so long. Also, he said one very beautiful thing. He said that if they are looking for a screwdriver and you are an advanced toolkit, their budget is only for a screwdriver, not for the advanced toolkit. So go with your advanced toolkit to someone who is looking for an advanced toolkit and who could
Yeah.
afford you. So
Right.
you have to always think, whenever you are getting a rejection somewhere, it's not because you are a parent or you're a mother or you're a new mom. That is something that I just recently rediscovered about myself, that I cannot sell myself short just because I am on a mat leave. That
Mm.
whenever I come back, I'll come back with a bang and I'll say, hey, I my parenting was the biggest project management that I have done, and I have done many. And this is the most difficult thing. And maybe people do not say it out loud, but it's too difficult to keep a baby alive. Um, Everybody says that, because there's so many babies in the world, that easy hoga. It's not easy at all. You have to keep the baby alive. You have to take care of their resources. And so it's very important to give yourself credit and to pat yourself on the back and say that, hey, I have done a good job. So I'm very determined that whenever I'm going for my next whatever job gig, I'm gonna be bullish about how amazing motherhood has been and how it has taught me about so many things and so many skill sets that people don't even talk about.
Wow.
It has taught me resource management. It has taught me time management. It has taught me time management in a way that no course would have ever taught me. It has taught me how to keep myself healthy and productive. Um, and those things are so rare and need to be talked about. So I think those are the things that people should understand, especially moms. They need to embrace their scars, because scars are not their weakness. It's badge and honor of the wars that they have been to. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
That's a
that
beautiful
would be my
advice, Mrinal.
advice.
That's a beautiful advice. And with this, we come to a close of this episode. Thank you so much for taking out the time and being so candid in all that you have talked of. I'm sure the audience would enjoy it too. Thank you so much, Mrinal.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
wonderful talking to you. Bye.
Bye.